Come have fun with us and don't forget to subscribe.
What's up everybody, I'm Rick.
And I'm Anna, and welcome to our review of the 1935 movie Mutiny on the Bounty. For those of you who are new here, hi and welcome. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel where we're gonna have a lot of fun together. This channel is dedicated to Rick and mine bucket list of goals and dreams that we hope to accomplish in our lifetimes. And one of those goals for us is to watch every movie that was nominated at the Academy Awards for Best Picture from 1927 to 2028. That is
So many movies.
101 years. Exactly, so many. 101 years of Academy Awards Best Picture nominees and their respective winners. And we are currently at the year 1935. Last movie of the year, actually.
It's been a long one, Anna.
Oh yeah, it's been a long journey to get here.
It's been 84 years.
To this day, we have watched 67 movies as part of this goal, and we have discussed one movie that is not available to us because it is only available at UCLA, and one lost movie, The Patriot.
I'm on the track.
For those of you who don't know how these reviews are going, it's very simple. The first part is going to be a spoiler-free part in which we'll discuss our impressions of the movie, give some top-level appreciation without spoiling the story. And the second part will be a spoiler-filled part in which we deep dive into certain scenes, certain elements of the movie while spoiling the story. However, don't worry, if you don't want to get spoiled, we will warn you before. And at that point, I invite you to check the description box below where there is a timestamp that will take you directly to the end of this video to the ranking section. Because every year we rank the nominated movies according to our likings and preferences.
Indeed.
But before we get to all of that, let me give you, Rick, and you everyone watching this video right now, some interesting information about this movie in the trivia section. Mutiny on the Bounty is an MGM drama film that came out on November 8, 1935. The movie is based on the 1932 novel of Charles Northoff and James Norman Hall with the same title. Interesting thing to note here is that the movie is based on the novel, which is in return inspired from historical events.
Real events, yes.
But the movie is not necessarily based on the real events.
I don't know if we're gonna dig into that, but I did look at some of the historical events on Wikipedia,
Okay.
mind you. And a lot of it seems to match. That was interesting.
The movie was directed by Frank Lloyd, of whom we've heard before because he's also the director of two movies that we've seen as part of this goal, Cavalcade and East Lynne. And the movie stars Charles Laughton as Captain Bligh, whom we've seen before in The Private Life of Harry VIII, The Ballads of Wimpole Street, Ruggles of Red Gap, and Les Miserables. So this is the fifth film in which we see this actor. He's
busy.
He's busy, right? Yeah.
It's him and Wallace Beery.
Movie also stars Clark Gable as Fletcher Christian, whom we've seen before in It Happened One Night, French Atone as Biam, and Eddie Quillian as Ellison. The movie was a great success. It was nominated for 8 Academy Awards total.
Wow.
Yeah, right? First off, Best Picture, or as it was known back then, Outstanding Production, which it also won. Hey, we're at the winner of this year for Best Picture. It was also nominated for Best Actor in a Leading Role for Clark Gable, Best Actor in a Leading Role for Charles Laughton, and Best Actor in a Leading Role for French Atone.
So everybody's leading role. Nobody's secondary.
Yeah, no. Everybody got a nomination for Best Actor in a Leading Role here. It was also nominated for Best Director for Frank Lloyd, Best Writing Screenplay for Jules Furtherman, Talbot Jennings, and Carrie Wilson, Best Film Editing for Margaret Booth, and Best Music Score for Ned W. Finston. Long list of nominations here. Some interesting information here about the movie. First off, this is the only ever movie to receive 3 Academy Awards nominations for Best Actor.
Yeah, I mean, there's something wrong with that to begin with.
And it was because of this incident or situation that the Academy created the category for Best Actor in a supporting role.
Ah, there you go.
So the category didn't exist back then, which is why everybody was leading role, right? This is also the last of only 3 movies to have won the Academy Award for Best Picture without winning any other category. And the other 2 movies on this list are The Broadway Melody from 1929 and Grand Hotel 1932. Some interesting trivia about the filming of the movie. So part of the movie was shot on location in Tahiti.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Upon returning from the on-location filming, the crew realized that their footage had been damaged by poor storing conditions. And they had to go back and shoot it,
And
everything
film it again?
Oh. Like almost everything.
Who's gonna complain though? Free trip to Tahiti?
Definitely not the actors. I'm sure they were happy. Another interesting thing, the 2 ships, the Bounty and Pandora, were actual life-size ships that were reconstructed from some old ships that the production crew got. And the Bounty was actually an exact replica of the original ship, the Bounty, but only 1/5 of its size.
Dedication on for this movie.
Yeah, a lot of it, actually. So you mentioned actually earlier about how it's Charles Laughton and Wallace Beery that we see everywhere. Well, guess what? We almost saw Wallace Beery in this movie because he was initially asked to play the role of Captain Bligh, but he turned down the role because he couldn't stand Clark Gable, who was already cast as Christian.
Oh, Hollywood drama.
Oh yeah, Hollywood drama. And there's more of that. Actually, we get here into a little bit of 1930s Hollywood drama.
Oh.
So, Clark Gable, apparently very problematic actor to have in your movie. He was initially very upset when French Tone was cast as Biam, as the 2 of them were bitter rivals over the affection of actress Joan Crawford, and they couldn't stand each other. However, after filming for this movie together, they became friends when they discovered their common interests in alcohol and women. And Irving Thalberg cast Clark Gable and Charles Laughton together in hopes that they would actually end up hating each other, which would make their on-screen relationship more believable. But it's interesting to know why. Because Clark Gable was a notorious homophobic and Charles Laughton apparently was bisexual. Now this was never confirmed by Laughton himself, but in general, everybody he worked with and film historians agree on the fact that he was bisexual. He was married for most of his life up until his death, but he would often come when filming a movie with some male friends who would just hang around with him.
Interesting. Make them hate each other for real so that they play it better.
Right, and Laughton actually brought, when filming on location in Tahiti, brought his personal masseur with him. It is believed that that was actually his partner at the time. And it worked. They actually couldn't stand each other. Or rather, Gable couldn't stand Laughton. So that is about everything that I had as trivia information about the movie. A lot of it interesting 1930s drama. Now, without further ado, let us move on to the spoiler-free conversation. So, Rick, without spoiling the plot of the movie, what did you think of this movie?
So, what did I think of it? Like I said, after watching it, I kind of fell into a rabbit hole of looking up the real characters, the real events. I even ended up checking like the descendants of Christian, of which there are many. Apparently, a lot of the Christian on these islands now are direct descendants of him.
Interesting.
Now I have a very hard time. Maybe I shouldn't have done it. I have a very hard time separating my interest for the real life story and my interest for the movie. And maybe that's where it lies. Actually, I was very interested in the events, maybe less in the movie. I don't know. I thought like the actors all did a terrific job. Frankly, the whole time I was watching, I was more so thinking about, I wonder if that's real. I wonder how that really went. They're doing this thing. I wonder if that's also true. And so that is my whole impression of the movie. That's what I took out of it.
So that is when talking about like the story in general and the events depicted in the movie. What did you think more specifically of the performances?
So yeah, like I just mentioned, I thought they were really good. Again, I was about to say Wallace Beery. And Charles Laughton always great, you know, and especially in these kind of roles where you're supposed to hate him.
Yeah.
Because he does it so well.
I do have to say, though, I kind of had a problem with his character. Not with his portrayal of the character, but with a twist that his character had at some point that it kind of bothered me a little bit. I felt like his character was inconsistent.
Oh, at a certain point. I think
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. We can get into it when we
obviously.
speak spoilers later, but I think I see what you're...
But yeah, as for the other ones, I feel like Clark Gable actually was a very good counterpart to Lachlan on screen. So I thought that they're like pairing these two as, antagonists to each other worked really well.
Yeah.
So there was very good casting there.
Shout out to the fact that they filmed on location, because actually a few times, sometimes it was obvious that they were just in front of a screen and then the water was fake. But a few times I was watching and wondering, it kind of looked like they're in the water there, or it kind of looked like they're on an island, and I was wondering, is it true?
Yeah,
And so
a lot of the footage was shot on location. There was also footage shot in California, but like open air.
Yeah.
And obviously a lot of it shot
In studio.
a studio as well, but I feel like they mixed them really well.
They did a very good job, yeah. And I guess we're seeing more and more of these, ambitious movie with a lot of on-location shooting. I remember when we first talked about Trader Horn, and that was one of the first time they ever went to film abroad. And now we see it more and more. Captain Blood is a highlight of this year. So here again, I'm always impressed with the technology they had at the time, what they managed to do.
Yeah, I am too. And especially because reading more about how they made this movie, apparently they also used a lot of overlapping footage where an actor filmed, for example, a dialogue or something like this in a studio, but then they placed it in a footage of the island. So that they overlap the two of them.
Oh,
And
that's smart.
yeah, I thought that they must have done that really great because it didn't really jump at me. I wouldn't be able to identify the scene. I don't think so if I were to see it. So yeah, they did a lot of tricks and stuff like this in order to make the movie feel well put together.
Yeah.
And I thought that they did a good job in that aspect. So I guess we kind of dive now into the look and sound of the movie. There are certain scenes that are filmed on a ship that are really impressive to me, where you can hear the water, you can hear the sea, the storm, nature sounds, stuff like this. And over that you can hear the characters talking, shouting, screaming. It feels very realistic. So I thought that a lot of effort must have been put into...
Oh, definitely. That's even... Tell me the story of how they had to go back a second time to film everything. They were really dedicated, and it shows. It shows in the look of the movie, which looked great.
Definitely, it definitely does. So I guess I didn't really give my impression on the movie in general in the beginning, so I'm gonna do it now. I have to say that overall, while the movie I felt was very fluid, there were some parts that just, much like Lachlan's character, were a little bit inconsistent to me.
Really?
Where I felt like some characters just had an unnatural shift in the second half of the movie. It's the most obvious, I feel, with Lachlan, but I feel like other characters had a similar shift in their storyline, in their personal storyline.
Well, a lot of it is based on real events, so maybe humans are just crazy.
So is there anything else?
But did you enjoy it?
I absolutely enjoyed it, yeah. I thought it was very interesting, very adventurous.
Yeah, it's very interesting, definitely.
Yeah.
I do feel like, and I guess that's up to my point earlier, which is that it's based on real events, so they're trying to show a lot of those events. Sometimes it drags. Sometimes it stays on, because it sets the events, it sets the scene, I don't think it's a spoiler to say that the movie is about a mutiny.
Right.
And so it takes time to get there, you know? And at one point I was thinking, where's the mutiny,
Yeah, I felt like there were several points where I thought it would finally happen. And then it didn't, and then it didn't, and then it didn't, and you do feel it. You do feel it. So is there anything else that you would like to touch on before we move on?
No, nice movie, interesting.
Would you recommend it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I would also recommend it. I thought it was very good. It's definitely worth watching. As I said, it's very adventurous and it's full of energy. It is full of energy. As you watch it, it gives you that energy, and It's a good movie. Now, for those of you who don't want to get spoiled in the next section, don't forget you can head to the timestamp in the description box below that will take you directly to the end of this video, to the ranking section. And for those of you who have either watched the movie or don't mind getting spoiled, let us move on to the spoiler-filled section. We will start this section the way we always do. I will give you a short synopsis of the movie. A tyrannical ship captain takes his reluctant crew on a 2-year voyage that will change British maritime law forever.
Forever?
Forever.
Forever, ever?
Now, I do have a question about that. I didn't really feel in the movie how did anything change.
At the end, there's
barely a hint that
there's a
something
hint,
changed.
but there's also that cheesy speech, about how this is about the future of Britain. And...
Yeah, but I didn't really feel the change. I felt like the intention. Some people being displeased with the way things are now, but I didn't really feel the change.
Yeah, well, I guess that's not what the movie's about. The movie's about
true.
the mutiny.
So we were talking earlier about inaccuracies or how much the movie respects the historical events. Now, as I mentioned before, the movie is based on the book. The book is inspired from the historical events, but the book never claims to be a historical
book.
It is a historical book, but
historical recreation.
Exactly. It's a novel, so there's a lot of
dramatization.
Exactly. And even small changes to characters, even some character names are changed. So the movie also never really had the intention of being historically accurate. So first off, Bly's character. He is depicted as being very cruel, sadistic, disciplinarian. However, that is not entirely true. In fact, his character altogether is very much dramatized or exaggerated, exactly. Practices that we see in the movie, like keel hauling and flogging. So we see a scene like this. However, keel hauling is a practice that was abolished long before Bly's time. So it was not happening in his time, and there is no reason to suspect that he actually did perform that on his ship or allow it to be performed on his ship. And the Bounty's very detailed log of the trip to Tahiti shows that flogging was actually performed much less than the average of the time on other British ships. So it's unclear exactly why Bly got this reputation of being so cruel.
But I mean, from the Wikipedia page I was reading, after coming back and the whole trial happened, a lot of what came out was his supposed cruelty, and then the public very quickly turned on him. He was never accused of or proven guilty of anything. He was even made admiral later in his life and governor, but he was made governor of a British colony, and then the people in the colony also rebelled. So I'm tempted to think...
Yeah, so as I was saying, there are no evidence of these things happening. I'm not saying they didn't happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't know of his later career, so if it happened again, that surely there must be some truth to it, actually. There are other scenes in the movie that are exaggerated, like for example the way the mutiny happens. In the movie we see the mutineers killing some loyal officers while taking over the ship. However, apparently there was no death during the mutiny. But the scene when one of the mutineers tries to shoot Bly before Christian stops him is actually historically accurate. That did happen. Other differences: Captain Bly was never on board of the Pandora ship, the ship that went back to Tahiti to recover the crew. And he was also never present at the trial of the mutineers who were brought back to England. In fact, I think when the trial happened, he was en route to the colony where he was made governor, if I'm not mistaken. I remember reading this.
Oh, was that at that time? I remember reading that, I don't know exactly the timeline, but after the events of the mutiny and he's coming back, he was put on administrative leave. That's when all the fuss about him being cruel was happening, with half pay for months. And so with no real work.
Okay. So obviously you have more historical details than I do, so...
I mean, I read patches here and there. I don't have the full story.
Okay. Well, anyway, one way or another, he was not present at the trial, which we actually see in the movie happening. And the last inaccuracy that I would like to talk about is Christian's speech towards the end of the movie when he speaks about building a new society or settlement where all men can be free and equal and there will be no cruelty and something like this, which, according to what I found online, is not accurate because the mutineers, after returning to Tahiti, apparently they enslaved at least part of the native people on the island. So
wow.
They were not friendly and free. Not everyone, at least.
One thing that was interesting, so I really dove much deeper into Christian's life than into Blythe. It is unclear how he died. There are conflicting stories, and when the British, I don't remember if it was the British, but when they were finally found on that other island that they went to, only one of the mutineers was left still alive.
Okay.
He told conflicting stories of how Christian and the others died, Christian more specifically, and Christian meanwhile had several kids.
Okay.
And those kids also had lots of other kids, and so he populated that island quite a lot.
Pretty much by himself.
But I thought it was interesting that, they did all of that, and in the end, none of them were left. There was only this one guy.
But I mean, how much later was the island found? Because maybe he lived there for a long time.
I don't know. I don't know that it was that much later.
Okay. I mean, if he had many kids, then it must have been a few years. So that is everything that I had to say in relation to historical accuracy of this movie. So let us now discuss about this movie. Are there any scenes in particular that you'd like to talk about?
I'd like to talk about Christian's kid. He's called, I just remembered, I wanted to tell you that.
Okay.
Thursday, October.
Thursday, October, that's the name of the kid.
That's the name he gave one of his kids.
Okay.
What a name. I mean, nothing against anybody out there who's called by dates of their birth.
Yeah.
But still. Any specific scene? So I guess I mentioned it a little bit, and one of the scenes that I guess irked me the most was during the trial. That last speech, before being found guilty, the officer, makes that speech about Britannia and for the sake of the country and its navy, they must, make changes and blah, 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 blah. First of all, if you have a defense that involves reasons why the mutiny happened in the first place, you should have said that before.
Right.
Like, that doesn't make sense that you just let them decide your fate and you don't give them like an essential detail, especially when one of the judge was just sitting there and saying, hey, why did this mutiny even happen? Can someone enlighten me?
Right.
And then nobody says anything.
Yeah, I thought that was curious too, that none of them there actually had the chance or, to talk about what happened and why they did that.
They had the chance to do so. He asked the question,
Yeah, but I felt like maybe that was just done to portray it in a way of we give everyone an equal chance when actually in reality things weren't really like that.
In reality, during the trial, that was discussed. That's why I told you public opinion shifted on Blythe very quickly. But here in the movie, they ask Blythe, why did the mutiny happen? And he's like, I have no idea. I don't know.
But I mean, of course he would say
of course he would. But all three people who are being accused and are possibly going to be hanged for this are just sitting there and we're like, I'm not going to answer that question.
Yeah.
That could give...
possibly save my life.
But I guess to say that there were reason to have the mutiny might have made them look like they did participate in the mutiny. He waited until he knew he was going to be found guilty to tell the story.
But I felt like that was the point, is that they were just trying to save their own lives. Whereas when he realized that, I'm gonna die anyway, so I might as well.
Throw him under the bus.
Yeah.
But anyway, I went on a tangent here about the mutiny, but I wanted to talk about the speech. Damn, what a cheesy speech.
Oh my god, yes.
Oh.
Oh my god, yes, you're totally right.
That's when, like, a movie turns into almost propaganda,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, come on.
And I don't know why, like, I always have an issue, like, when I listen to speeches in movies, of Westerners, especially in those times, talking about freedom and equality and blah, 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 when they went on and enslaved half the world.
Yeah, and I mean, the mission of the boat was to bring these fruits to those slave islands.
Yeah.
Because it was cheap food for the slave.
Yeah. I wanted to talk a little bit about that shift that I was talking about in the previous section, in the characters, especially in Blythe's character. And when it comes to Blythe, the scene or the segment that comes to mind the most is the part where he's left at sea in a boat with his loyal crew members, and suddenly he cares about everyone. Where you've told the whole story until now, where he was willing to let people without food and without water, not care that his
the old man
officer was dead, couldn't even stand. But then he's there in the ship with some 20 men or so, and he cares about everyone.
Yeah, the old guy eats the bird.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I don't feel it.
Where I think that comes from is because the journal is what this is probably based on. Because he kept a journal of his open boat voyage.
Yeah.
And so that's the information they have on how this went.
Yeah.
So he wrote it. He would have written anything
good about himself.
Yeah, exactly. I helped the whole crew today.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's even in the movie they make mention of this is one of the greatest feat of ever done by a sailor to have survived this open boat voyage until Life of Pi, of course. But so that's impressive in its own way, but a lot of the information we have about it only comes out of the mouth of the one who wrote it, the one who wrote everything in his journal.
Yeah, I suppose. And then it's not even as if there was any character growth there.
I mean, to make mention of what you were saying about when they went back to the island, they actually enslaved some of the native. A lot of the movie, when they're in Tahiti, it's very, idealized version of how they would interact with the native.
That too. And I think that aligns with the issue that we have about just in general how they depict themselves.
The whole thing is portrayed, yeah.
We are
they come there, and then the chief comes on the boat and he says, "We'll need X amount of your trees."
Yeah.
And he's just like, "Oh, sure, take all the trees. It's yours." I doubt it,
Yeah,
maybe you're trying to justify taking resources from other people and then saying, "Hey, they gave it to us. They were fine with it." But
I feel like that's what the colonizers would have said in general. They come back from all of these voyages from all over the world with riches, treasures, fruits, stuff like this, and be like, they just gave them to us.
Yeah. When in reality, probably it's more something like, hey, the trees are not ours, they're not yours. Sure, if you want some trees,
go and take it.
And then they just take 1,000 of them.
Right, exactly. What did you think about the way the interaction between the British crew members and especially the women on the island was depicted?
I don't know how it went in reality, but I remember thinking at some point towards the beginning of their interaction, in real life a lot of these women would have been raped.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Especially because I remember you even made the commentary while watching the movie about how they wouldn't have worn those kind of clothes. In the movie they're fully dressed in when in reality if you look at how native people don't really wear much clothes. Which might have been the case over there. I don't know for sure, but I'm sure they wouldn't have worn those dresses. So is there anything else in particular that you'd like to talk about?
Not really, nothing comes to mind.
Then I guess that was it for our spoiler-filled conversation, and now let us move on to the ranking section. So, the ranking of the 1935 Academy Awards Best Picture nominated movies as of now is at number 11, The Lives of a Bengal Lancer, at number 10, Alice Adams, at number 1, Broadway Melody of 1936, at number 8, Naughty Marietta, at number 7, Les Miserables, at number 6, Ruggles of Red Gap, at number 5, A Midsummer Night's Dream, at number 4, Top Hat, at number 3, David Copperfield, at number 2, Captain Blood, and at number 1, The Informer. Where would we put this movie on this list? I wonder. So,
first thing first, this is the winner of Best Picture. In my opinion, it is not the winner of our ranking.
Oh no,
I wouldn't put it above The Informer.
No.
Let's go reverse. Let's do it like this, actually.
Okay, this is fun.
I wouldn't put it above The Informer. No. I wouldn't put it above Captain Blood.
No, I definitely wouldn't. Considering that they're both, adventure movies, Captain Blood, I feel, did a much better job at depicting the adventure.
I would not put it above David Copperfield.
No.
No. Let's see. Top Hat. No, I wouldn't put it above Top Hat.
Yeah, me neither.
A Midsummer Night's Dream. So now, I guess, now I'm getting into the section where I'm wondering. Midsummer Night's Dream, Ruggles, Les Mis. I feel like it's in this
Somewhere between these three.
overall section. What do you think? Or would you go even lower?
I feel like I wouldn't put it above A Midsummer Night's Dream. I feel like that was a very fascinating movie to me. Whereas this one, it had certain elements that impressed me, but not so much overall.
Well, this one was interesting, but more for the real life elements of it. So not Midsummer Night's Dream. So
And
now
then-
we're back to Ruggles.
Ruggles of Red Gap. With Ruggles, the thing is that I feel like it's way more ambitious than Ruggles.
Yeah.
But then again, we also have Lachtan there, and I like Lachtan more in Ruggles.
And Ruggles than in this? I thought it was better in this.
Yeah, that's true now that I think about it. The thing is that I liked his non-comical character a lot, but this character was way more versatile.
Ruggles was more entertaining though, but this is more ambitious. And I guess we've had that
feel-
conversation
yeah.
a few times this year.
But I think that this one is entertaining too, and as I said before, it's very like full of energy and full of action, and you really feel it. Ruggles is a comedy. Sure, it works great as a comedy. It's a great comedy, but is it as powerful, as impactful as?
Yeah, I guess we can go above Ruggles.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
which would make it number...
Which would make it number 6. Ladies and gentlemen, Hendrik,
Yeah.
the ranking, the final ranking.
I'm neither a lady or a gentleman, I see.
The final ranking of the 1935 Academy Awards Best Picture nominee movies, according to our likings and preferences, is at number 12, The Lives of a Bengal Dancer. At number 11, Alice Adams. At number 10, Broadway Melody of 1936. At number 9, Naughty Marietta. At number 8, Les Miserables. At number 7, Ruggles of Red Gap. At number 6, Mutiny on the Bounty. At number 5, A Midsummer Night's Dream. At number 4, Top Hat. At number 3, David Copperfield. At number 2, Captain Blood. And at number 1, The Informer.
There you go.
Congratulations, The Informer.
There you go. We'll send you your prize by the mail. The Informer, look for it in about 2 to 3 months. That's it. We finished another year on
my
our list
God,
of 101
yes.
year. And
I'm really happy.
yeah, that was a long one.
I want to say this year, more so than last year, I feel was just better overall.
Yeah, but let me tell you something about that though. Last year, we had a bottom half of movie or a bottom third of movie that were just bad movies, And here we don't really have that, but I feel like we have a bottom third of movie that are forgettable.
That is true.
They are forgettable. You've read some, and maybe that's because the year was so long that it feels like some of these we've watched 5 years ago, but you've read some of these titles and I was like, what was that? Oh yeah, that was that movie. Yeah.
But I mean, if you think about even the top movie that we have here, like The Informer, this is one of the first movies that we watched.
Yeah, and I remember
And
very
I remember
well.
everything. Yeah, exactly. And there are others out there that...
I remember Captain Blood very well also.
Top Hat.
Yeah.
It was also
But that's because we've seen it twice. But like if you tell me Naughty Marietta or Alice Adams, I kind of have flashes. Oh yeah, Alice Adams, that was that one lady who wanted the...
Yeah, I feel like Alice Adams will become a very generic story.
Yeah.
Like maybe even when we watched it, maybe it was something like slightly different, but I feel like it's quite generic. Like it will be reproduced a lot and it will just at some point just mingle with
Blend
everything
them
else.
too, yeah. But hey, onward now towards 1936.
Hopefully we only get better and better.
Yeah. And I mean, we've already seen the Broadway Melody of 1936, so we've peeked into the future of that year.
So that being said, that was our review of the 1935 movie Mutiny on the Bounty and the end of the 1935 Academy Awards Best Picture nominated movies reviews. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Also, this channel, don't forget, it's not just about reviewing movies, it's a bucket list channel in which Rick and I try to accomplish the goals and dreams that are on our bucket list, and they include many different things like traveling, learning how to cook, learning new things in general, self-growth, and we make videos about all of them and we bring them all to you. So yeah, don't forget to subscribe to follow us through our adventures. Once again, thank you all so much for watching, and don't forget, if you have a goal or a dream that you want to accomplish, take that first step. Bye.
Bye.